In 1963, the Chamizal Treaty was signed, ending a long-running dispute between Mexico and the United States. Over 5,000 U.S. citizens were removed from their homes when their land was given back to Mexico. This is a story of how one woman's life was affected and how her actions affected the lives of many.
My name is Elvira Escajeda. I'm an 88-year-old person. I was born here, and I have always felt very proud of the way I live. And I've been very proud of my country. When I went to school, I liked school. But in the books that I studied, there was never any mention about Chamizal. And it's a painful episode because it hurt so many people. I bought that lot and I built the house. Papa was so happy because he had always been planning to build a house. He never had a chance. So he even told me when he went out to the big yard and was looking at it, he says, Vila, because he used to call me Vila, Vila, I wish I had this when you were little, when you guys were little. I said, well, it's okay, Papa, now you got it, see? So when I went to California, it was to earn money so that I could come back. I came back and I bought land, and I built a house in the corner. I knew that someday I would have to come back and look after them. My father was not only my father, he was my friend. Because he gave me power. He made me feel strong. He made me realize I was worth it. And for that, he was not just my father, he was my friend. And I had to keep that promise. And I'm glad that I came back. So I went to work with Mr. Ponder at Ponder Manufacturing. He had known me from way back, and he gave me a line. I was the supervisor for that line. So I kept working and figuring my life is already settled. I can quit work when Papa falls, and I just take care of him and rent what I have and make a living out of it. Then Kennedy goes to Mexico, and he promises to give the land to Mexico. And I came and asked Papa when I read in the papers about Chamizal. I says, Papa, what is Chamizal? He explained to me about the river, and I told him, why didn't you tell me at that time, before I bought? He said, how would I have known that this land would now be given back? Because Mexico has always had a legitimate claim to it. They have never closed the case. So I told him, don't worry. The government will do right by us. We'll get paid, and we get out, and we put our home some other place. That's all. Kennedy had said that he was sending men down to talk to the people in the Chamizal. Men came down, and he was supposed to be here a week and talk to us. I said, well, we'll get some notice. And nothing. And I kept reading the papers every afternoon, and they all came out with different things, that they were having meetings with the city council. And I said, well, once they finish discussing that, they will get to us. Well, the last straw came when it says in the paper, Commissioner Mann is going back to Washington in a couple of days because El Paso is 100% behind the Chamizal deal. I was very angry. So I went and told my father, look, Papa, look what it says here in the paper. That is not right. And he said, well, what can we do? The government is stronger than us. I said, no, Papa. I know you were not born here, but I was born here. And when I went to school, I studied and I read about the government, and it said, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We are the government, Father. I said, and I'm going to go fight him. He says, no, Vila, no, because you'll be put in jail. He was so afraid I would get in trouble with the government. I said, that's good, Papa. If they put me in jail, then the whole nation will know what's happening to us. It'll be good. I'll get more publicity. Because see, if they put me down, I'm going to get up. Because see, that's the only way I have. I'm already down. I got nothing to lose. So I went to my boss next day and I told him, I am going to talk with the commissioner. And he even told me, oh, Vera, you're a card. I says, why? He says, you can't do that. I says, why not? Because he's here on government business. I said, what do you think we are? We're government business. We are part of the government. So see, that's why right now I am fighting. I'm going to be in trouble and my parents are going to be in trouble. And it's not right. The government has to do right. He says, okay, Vila, more power to you. You go ahead. So I went. When I got to Paso del Norte, I asked one of the bellboys, he's the Water and Boundary Commissioner, he's in a meeting right now. So I went up there. This lady comes out and I tell her I want to talk to the commissioner, the Water and Boundary Commissioner. She tells me, well, he's in a meeting. I says, I know. That's okay. I will wait out here. And when he's through, you tell him I'm waiting out here to talk to him. 10 or 15 minutes later, another gentleman comes out and he tells me, you're the lady that wants to see the commission? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, can you tell me and I will tell him? I said, no, I have to tell him myself. So she went in. I stayed there about an hour and a half. I was behaving myself. I was just standing there waiting for them to get through with the meeting. Then this other gentleman comes out and tells me, look, lady, you're not going to be able to talk to Commissioner Mann. I said, okay. So I told one of the bellhops, because see, there were a lot of bellhops in the whole gathering. To them, it was so strange to see a Mexican girl standing there in the hall fighting the government. So I told them, do you have a phone around here? He pointed me where there was a phone. The young man that had told me I wouldn't be able to talk to him followed me. I went and picked up the phone. An Anglo girl answered me, and I remember the words so correctly, because I said, I am one of the Chamizal, and I want to talk to a reporter. And she said, thank goodness somebody spoke. So you see, just those words alone, they must have been wondering what happened to those people. Why aren't they talking? Why aren't they defending themselves? So he said, don't go anywhere. I said, I'm not going anywhere. It didn't take too long because the paper is very close to there. And here comes the reporter, the cameras, and the whole bit. They come in and they handed me a microphone. And they told me, you're the lady that want. I said, yes. I said, see this paper? I want a retraction. I didn't know who this gentleman was, the reporter. I am very blessed and lucky that it was Marshall Hale. And Marshall Hale told me, why do you want a retraction? I said, because this is not correct. At the time I was telling him that, Water and Boundary Commissioner Mann was coming towards me. He came out of the room. I guess this gentleman went back and told him she's with a reporter. And he came and gave me his hand and introduced himself. And I gave him my hand. I told him I was very happy to meet him and that I was grateful that he would give me some time to talk to us. And all this was in front of the cameras. And I told him, I want to apologize for the way I came in. But you left me no other way. And then he said, no, I apologize. Your mayor had told me that everything was okay. El Paso is 100% behind the Chamizal deal. And when we went into the meeting room, they had an oval table with a lot of papers. There were a lot of gentlemen sitting around the city council and a lot of businessmen. I said, you're discussing this, trying to figure out what portion belongs to whom. What about us, telling us what is going to happen to us and how we're going to be paid? And in the paper, it has said that you are planning to pay us the tax value, and that's not going to happen. Because if you pay us the tax value, we will not be able to buy a home. We have humble homes, but they belong to us. I mean, that's an insult to me and to all of us. Because whatever we have is not much according to your eyes, but to us, it's our future. I plan my future, and you're destroying my future. You're destroying my father's future, my brother's future, my neighbors. You're throwing us out in the cold, giving us something to go and buy a house and end up in debt and lose it. So we're not going to accept that, and we're going to fight. And we're going to put our American flag, and when you pay us, we will move it from that place to the other home. And the ambassador told me, I will not go back to Washington. I will wait, and you bring your people. And I said, that's all we want. We want an open discussion so you will know what's hurting us, how you can help us, and how we can help the government. And he said, okay, then you bring your people tomorrow, and I promised I'll be here. I thanked him and left back to work. Marshall Hale came with me. He walked with me. And he told me, Vila, you did the right thing, but you cannot do it alone. You're going to need help. I said, I know that. As soon as I get out of work, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at all my partners, see who wants to fight with me. And he said, I'm going to give you all the publicity you need. When I came out in the afternoon, he splashed on the papers, Mrs. Lacarra defying the government. There were a lot of people out there when I came out of work. And they were all asking, who is Elvira Lacarra? Because that was my name then, And I said, I'm Elvira Lacarra. So they all came to me. I says, okay, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, all of you be over there at Paso del Norte. Everybody come. And I was happy that I saw so many people. And a lot of the people came out, okay, by being paid market value instead of the tax value. But we had to fight. Like we have to fight on everything we get. Nothing in this life is for free. The closing was the meeting of the Chamizal. They had both presidents come down and they were going to close the Chamizal deal at the Chamizal Memorial. I noticed a long black car, beautiful. He was stopping in front of my house. And I wonder, who's coming to see me now? Everything is over. But then this gentleman gets out, and it's an envoy from the president of Mexico, Lopez Mateos. And he came and handed me an invitation that said, the president of Mexico and his wife invites you to the meeting of the presidents at the Chamizal deal. I was very proud because I must have done something right somewhere along the way for the president of Mexico to give me the invitation. The president of the United States sent another man and he gave me a medal with a letter that said that the medal was for helping the government settle the Chamizal deal in a peaceful way. 40-something years later, I still have the Texas flag and the American flag, because those are my flags. And I dare anybody to come and take them down or tell me I cannot fly them. Now I'm a widow. And I've been thinking about the golden age, but it's not as nice as you're told. Because I got sick, and for once in my life, I had to ask for help. I started looking through the telephone book, and I came up with the Council on Aging. And I told them, I need help. They are the ones that sent me Bien Vivir. I didn't know about this health center. So they sent a nurse, and she came and talked to me, and she told me this was what I needed. And I said, well, if I qualify, I would like to go. So anyway, to make a long story short, I did qualify. And when they took me to the center, I was surprised at first because when I came in, I saw a lot of old people sitting in their chairs, sleeping, some other just staring. And I know I'm old, but this seemed kind of depressing to me. Anyway, when I sat down to dinner and we ate very good food, I had finished eating and I told one of the ladies, do you want to get up and walk for a little while? She says, no, we cannot do that. I says, why not? No, they won't let us walk because they are afraid we might fall. I says, no, look, I'm walking with a walker and you can walk with yours. And we just walk around here in the same room, She said, no, we can't do that. They don't let us. I said, well, I'm getting up to walk. So I got up and I went around in the walker, walking. And this gentleman comes and tells me, what are you doing? I says, I'm walking. He says, you can't do that. I said, why not? He says, because it's against the rules. I said, why is it against the rules? Because you might fall. I said, no, I have my walker, and you can walk with me if you want to. He said, well, why do you have to walk? I said, well, let me tell you a little secret. When you're a baby, they burp you, don't they? Well, I'm an old woman. Nobody's going to burp me. I have to walk. How else am I going to feel comfortable if the food is up here? I have to walk. So they could not dispute that. They had to let me walk. So, being that I was walking, next day the lady that I had told, she joined me. And then pretty soon all of them started joining. See, we were going around a lot of old women with the wheelchairs, with the walking around. So from now on, that is a rule. Everybody walks after dinner. But I started that rule because I had to burp. I started getting to know them and being friendly with them. And I even told them, you girls want me to bring scraps from home and we can start a quilting party or something, something to keep our mind occupied. So I started bringing in things to keep them occupied. I even brought a deck of cards and I would play poker with some of the little old men. Come on, let's play poker. And now they play domino. They play poker. See, now they're not lying down like that. And they told me that they were making a new center over in McKinley because we were at Welch. And it's a big building over by the mountains, beautiful. It's got a swimming pool. All the days I go, I swim. I make exercise on the machines. I get therapy. And all of us are doing fine. We're enjoying it now. They told me we have to have a person that is one of you participants to represent people. And they explained to me that this was so that if they had problems, they could come and talk to me because they would trust me. I would have a meeting every month. And then every 3 months, we would have a meeting on the floor. And then every 3 months also, we would have a meeting with the heads of the state and with Miss Murphy, the manager of the center. And it's very instructive. We discussed entertainment that we can have, problems that we have with the truck drivers, plan things. It's very good for everybody there. And I told them I would be very glad to serve, sure. I have a little flag that says Silveros Escajeda representative. It made me realize that I had started another chapter in my life. And my life has been a series of chapters. Like this last one now, I'm on my last chapter. I must have been about 5 years old. And I used to come back from kindergarten and I would run to the drugstore in the corner because they had a German doll and she was beautiful. And I used to come and look at the window and look at the doll. And mother used to get angry because it was time to eat and she would call me and I would be in the corner at the drugstore looking at the doll. And she told my father. So my father went and I was looking at the window. He says, what you do? I said, I'm watching the doll. He says, you want to see it? Sure. And he took me by the hand and brought me in. And I was so happy. I said, he's going to buy me the doll. And he told me, give her the doll. Take out the doll and let her hold it. So he took out the doll and took it out and he gave it to me and I handled it. Oh, I was so happy. I was hugging the doll. It's mine. He's going to get it for me. Then he said, you already touched it? You felt it, didn't you? I said, yes. I said, okay, give it to me. And I gave it to him because I thought he was going to pay for it. He gave it back to the clerk and said to put it back. And I started to cry. I thought he was going to buy it for me. And my mother got angry with him. He told, why were you being that cruel? He says, no, I got to teach her a lesson. And he told me, Vila, you wanted that doll a lot, didn't you? I says, yes. He says, well, you're going to be growing up and you're going to be wanting a lot of things. I says, and I want you to be like that. I want you to want, to aspire, to accomplish. So you might get a chance in life to touch things, to hold things. But the time comes when you have to let them go, open your arms and let them go. So see, that was a lesson well learned. A lesson that took me through life because I learned to let go of what is not for me. I enjoy what I have when I have it. But when it's time to lose it, I lose it. Because see, even life, it's loaned to us. I know I'm nearing. I know that I'm going down. But when it's time, I will just let go. Because like Papa said, it's not for you. This world is not for you anymore. Right now, it's still for me. And I'm fighting it and I'm enjoying it.